It is April 28th, 2017, and I think I'm getting over this cold. Yes. And I'm not eating because I just finished. So, hey, had my supper and I really wanted to get on sooner, but I didn't want to stuff my face because I think you guys would think I have a problem. It's just timing. I eat. We've got like what? Usually I have a snack around 7:30, 9:30 p.m. I weigh too, but just according to the machine, it's kind of weird. My scale says I'm weigh 200, but I was on a machine yesterday that said I weigh 227. Says I'm obese. I'm just about 5'10". Apparently that's obese. Oh, okay. It's not just overweight, it's just into the obese range, and there's at risk. My blood pressure is just marginally at risk. My pulse is fine. That's the only thing that's normal. Well, yeah, whatever. So, blood pressure. Yeah, some days my blood pressure it's kind of weird. It's just kind of there. But anyways, so just in case people were concerned about my health and I'm eating or overeating or whatever the heck it is, I tend to snack a lot because I don't eat much. Like I just had a crummy TV dinner for supper. Yeah, that's what life is when you don't cook, or you don't cook much. So last night, I'm on 5 hours sleep, but I'm full of energy. At least right now, I haven't started the crash syndrome yet. So I've got practically maybe 50 minutes at this point right now to try to get this all in as best as I can. Last night, I'll just start. I posted a video, and then instead of going to bed, I decided to check Train Sim again. And lo and behold, we got more noise. What else is new? So, I'm tired of the crap. And number one, if I had a personal issue with any of it, I would simply go ahead and email. I don't. I don't care. I'm tired of it, but I don't care. I just, I'm moving on. Basically, this video, I'm moving on. And I'm going to refer people to this video on this day, April 28th, 2017. I'm going to refer people to this video. And if you want to, and basically it's going to start out, it's going to have my history. It's going to be what I do, the reason why I keep doing what I do, the reason, and what adventure, and what is my agenda. It seems like people want to psychoanalyze my agenda. And yeah, I'm referring to one person at the moment, but that's at the moment. I've had to battle this for a long time over the course of 4 to 5 years, where some people think I have an agenda, or think I'm this, or think I'm, they like to psychoanalyze everything or every move I make. I don't know what it is, If you don't like something, don't like it. If you can comment on it, I'm fine with that. But you can be polite about it. You know what I'm saying? You can just be polite about it. Just let it go. And I don't hide anything that I'm saying here on the channel. I'd rather people hear it. If something's on my mind, hear it. And I know the amount of content that I put, it's difficult to probably get all that information. People have busy lives. Hell, I guarantee you my admins aren't listening. I don't think they are anyways. They wouldn't be listening or watching these videos. I'm almost positive my entire admin stack does not have the time to watch these videos. They used to, but they've been pretty busy lately, and they don't have the time for this. So, and for those of you, some of you don't know my history. So let me just warn you right now. If you're joining me on a live stream, I'm sorry I have to repeat it again, but there's a point to this. I want to go through that because it sets me up, it sets me up basically to where I'm going to bring the agenda and where things are going from here. So this can all be found, by the way. You go into, I'm not too sure. It's it's in here. It's in here. Get the hell these advertisements out of here. Um, Let me see if I can find it. If I do history of RTS, RTS software, well, RTS definition, that may do it. No, that ain't it. That's what RTS is all about. So you can find this stuff. You can go searching, but I'll share you RTS software. Continue to procedures, emergency servers, registry tutorials. See, I got a Run8. See, now here we go. I have a Run8 community page. So, as you can see, I got all kinds of different. I don't even know what's up here or what. I don't maintain this. The community can maintain this. Look, I got Run8 Europe. I know they're gone. So it's here. People can come in and edit these pages. As far as I know, they can. If you can't edit this page, let me know, and I'll make it accessible to the community. As far as I know, that's something that can be done. So, but anyways, let's forget about this right now because I can't find it. It's, trying to edit or modify, and a lot of people, a lot of men's have done some work on the wiki and everything like that. So, well, let's just go back to the home page. Oh my God, do we have to watch? Do we have to watch advertising? I hate that. So, you know, let's just leave it like that, and I'll leave that as the background, and you can read what you want. But I'll explain it in my own words the best I can and as quick as I can because I want to get through this. So if you've heard this before, you know, and if you're watching this on YouTube, just fast forward it a little bit. Don't bore yourself. Trust me. So, about a little over 5 years ago, no, let's go to MSTS. I was in MSTS at the beginning. I wrote activities. So I was there at the beginning. I got into freight yard manager at one time. You know, I touted that, and I'd still say freight yard manager, yard duty is probably one of the best railroad simulators out there because of the way it does logistics and the way it has so much information. It literally has all of North America. I don't know if they have Europe, but they definitely have huge chunks of North America that you can run, and the potential in that was very good. It's a 2D. It's very 2D, but it is a really cool railroad simulator. I didn't say train simulator. It is a cool. Oh damn! I was clear of throat before until I start talking. Damn it. Okay, so what do I need? A bottle of water? But anyways, I got a pop here, so that soda for you Americans wondering what the hell I'm talking about. So yeah, I was into a lot of different simulators, and Train Dispatcher. Oh my God, Train Dispatcher 3 was another simulator that I spent quite a bit of time. Eventually, I got into a concept that I wanted. I too was looking for version 2 of Microsoft Train Simulator and failed. It was very similar to the whole story of where Run8 and many people were looking for version 2 of Microsoft Train Simulator, and it was a very huge disappointment, much bigger than some of the more recent disappointments, whether it be cross ties for some, which I could care less for cross ties, to be quite honest. I don't know why I could care less about cross ties. They didn't seem to. They were fairly new, and they had a lot of nice little videos and everything, but they didn't really. I didn't know who the hell they were and what they were about, and then there was nothing or something. But anyways, I'm actually, I know a lot of people are disappointed with Train Sim World. To be quite honest, I'm a little intrigued by it. I gotta say, I'm a little intrigued by it, and if I had the cash to just throw around, I would certainly pick it up. I would. I would actually pick it up before. Here's a news flash. If I wasn't on servers regularly, like California, and you talk about all these expansions, I would actually pick up Train Sim World. I'd put that on a higher priority of picking up Train Sim World than the new two upgrade routes that are coming for Run 8. I totally support Run 8. It's not a lack of support. It's just I would probably use it more. My son and I would use it. I would, we already do the whole thing anyways. I'm getting way off topic. But I don't know how the hell I got on that. But anyways, so right around, I would say it would be a little over 5 years ago. No, even more than that. It's about six. I think that was about 6 years ago. The RTS concept was born. I didn't. I had a. I it could have been longer than that, but I started using it in the activity creations of a Microsoft Train Simulator route for CP Mac Tier Sub. And what I was doing was I was running the TD3. I envisioned this concept of having a whole world save, but I had to keep on going back into the activity editor and moving cars around as if the activity was completed, and it was very tiresome, much more work than what I even do now, and I had a lot more time on my hands then apparently. And I had this concept that of having some type of car forwarding system, and that's what RTS was really based on, was a car forwarding system, some type of operations system. It was either I was going to go along the route of what Freight Yard Manager did, except in my own way, because and there was even people from Yard Duty who were approaching me. They were interested because I wanted to go the road of multiplayer. I liked it. I saw. I can't believe this. I can't even get through this. This is ridiculous. I'm fine. I'm not coughing, gagging, or anything, and then all of a sudden I start talking, and it won't. I can't. I just got to clear my throat or something. But I'm actually feeling pretty fine. This is ridiculous. You can hear me gagging on a stupid YouTube. I can't believe this. Hold on a second. I'm just trying to clear my throat. This is ridiculous. I've been feeling pretty good today, and all of a sudden I start talking, and here we go. Oh, maybe that was because I ate. I don't know. I have no idea. To me, my sinuses feel a lot better. My voice feels a lot better. I don't have the pain in the back of my throat. I'll get a throat lozenge in a few minutes, but I'm just trying to finish my drink here. So yeah, getting back into history, I got to get through this. I got to work through this one way or another, because I don't have time, and I want to get to the point. So I had the concept. I didn't have the engine. I didn't have the means of doing it, and eventually I was approached by. I won't even go into names and all that other stuff because I've gone through it. Dale, well, yeah, okay, I'll just say Dale. Dale approached me. He was a beta team member. You'll hear his voice. You've probably heard his voices on, or at least I don't know if he's still on California. The voices for some of the detectors in California or not. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've been on California, so that's why I say that. But anyways, he was the detector voices. He did other things as well as beta test. At one point, he's no longer a team member at this point, but still very much like myself, a supporter. I was also. He asked me, and eventually I became, part of the beta team. I think both of us shared the same. We were off the beta team, then we were back on the beta team, and I won't get into the whole politics. I'm not even going to go into the whole kick and caboodle about various other servers and all that other crap. I've been questioned before, Let's just say that. I'm not even gonna draw up some of the issues in the communities and all that other crap that's gone on. Put it this way. I'll say this. I was the because of my position as a team member, I had a very good position. I was one of the servers that produced or was used primarily for the testing, the beta testing of the first version of Run8 before it, while it was still in beta before it got released. About 5 years, just under 5 years ago, I think it was in 2012, late summer of 2012, if I recall, or maybe yeah, somewhere in September. I can't remember, but so um, eventually I was no longer on the beta team. Um, people there was some disagreements between myself and the Run8 team. There has been in the past. Right now we're on respectable terms, I would say. I don't hazard to criticize them when I feel it's necessary, or I don't hazard to filter, or not filter, I should say. I don't filter my words as far as if there's something that I, you know, find annoying or whatever. Quite frankly, the program in its current state is pretty awesome. Do I see room for improvement? Absolutely, but they've done a really good job, and they usually do. There were a few features I wish were in that didn't get in, like the scheduling system. No big deal. It's a little bit of a time saver now, but I have ways around that by just simply spawning. I wish the schedule system was in. I certainly love the industry system and how that loads and empties and all that stuff. I definitely love the AI. I think the AI is a game changer. It's changed a lot of things, but at one point, we were I was the only server, and this was back in version 1. Then a second route came along. I did not want to purchase a second computer. Or, sorry, it would have been a third computer at the time, because back then you had to have your own computer to run a server. You couldn't run a server and whatever. I was the first server that went 24/7. It's not a big deal. I just say that because a lot of people I have to correct when I hear, I don't have to correct them. I just hear them say, well, yeah, well, Dams was the first 24/7 server. Well, as I've been saying recently, I took the whole anarchy position side from them, and then one day later, after I went 24/7, they went 24/7, and 24/7 has been there ever since. So the reason why I went 24/7, to be honest, was to up dams. That's all I did it for. I felt a level of competition, and honestly, there was never a competition. They were the solid base. They went to try to please everybody. They had a very large following. Blah 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 blah. But they're not around anymore for various reasons that I'm not even going to bother getting into, because that's not the point. It has nothing to do with me. You'll hear one side of the story from one side. You hear the other. Whatever. I got enough issues. Like I was saying in a post tonight. I got enough fronts to battle with right now. I don't need to go back to that. That's long gone history. I don't care. Um, I saw Ralph posting some messages tonight, and there was others saying this and that and blah blah blah, and I was just like, I ain't getting involved in this. All I did was share a video on my own RTS. Actually, I think the post was somewhere else, so I actually mistaken it for. I don't do Facebook. So I thought for some reason it was on the RTS site, and then I realized no, it was the original link. So I might have sounded stupid and said something weird on it, but a few people say, "Well, gee, what's going on? What the hell's going on?" I was like, "I don't know what's going on. I got enough issues going on." Um, So yeah, that and then um, we moved into, as far as we had the second server, which Tom put up, and this is back in version one. Originally, I was going to do Florida, and he was going to take over California, and then I didn't want to give up the hump yard. So, in retrospect, I wish I took Florida because Florida would have probably been very well suited for me and the way version 2 works. Uh, and as far as the direction it's going, despite the fact there's no hump, because eventually the hump's going to be there. But then again, who knows how that's going to work in. Um, Eventually, though, we had oh, what was it? Eventually, there was a lot of potential when Selkirk and Mohawk came as well. Now, Selkirk really didn't have a base in RTS. It was uh, it was always one of these that Smiley had a server up for a while. It didn't really take on. I didn't have the time to invest in going through the trains and the industries and all that other stuff. So I couldn't take the time like I started to do in Florida, and then Tom just took off with it, and he's at a whole new level with what he's done to Florida. I know you guys may have heard a lot of things too, and I mentioned Florida quite a bit. I don't go on Florida, and it's not because I don't support what Tom does. It's that it doesn't appeal to me. Switching and running single player, as in, and it's just the route in itself. I like the route and all. It's just as it is right now. Now, when it expands, that might appeal to me more. But I'm going to get into my agenda a little bit because this is where I think people are coming to question. And I was going to mention specific names tonight. I'm going to try not to. You know who I'm talking about. And if you don't, just check the Train Sim forum posts and you'll see. And hopefully this will explain it. But let me just keep on continuing on this one. So, what do we have? We've got train. So we've got the Selkirk Mohawk didn't have a real presence with Smiley because for whatever reasons, and California was becoming very big with Cajon and Needles, and there was a lot going on, and I knew version 2 was on the horizon, eventual horizon. I forget when Mike took over for California, but I wanted to get rid of it so that I could focus on Selkirk. Basically, I just wanted it off my plate, and that's exactly what happened. Mike took it. He took it on his shoulders. He ran it the way he wanted to run it, and we were very clear about that it was his server and not my server. I was the founder of RTS. I no longer had a server. At some point, I would have the Selkirk server. He certainly valued my input, I'm sure, and I got a little bit of information that I got in an email last night. Um, well, no, yeah, no, I'll save that to the end. We'll save that to the good part at the end. Or do I want to put it? Yeah, I'll just say this right. No, I'll save it to the end, just because some people might be fast forwarding all this history stuff. So I'll save it to the end. Um, but there's some encouraging news. Let's just say that. So when version 2 came out, and I'll stick to this one now because I'm not going to worry about all the other issues of the past or whatever. I'll just say this: version 1, the issue with version 1 was you needed players. You still need players. Don't get me wrong. You still need players if you want to run at least the yards and having dispatching. But a few players could do wonders. Just a few players alone would be enough to run a server and they didn't have to always be there all the time, and et cetera, et cetera. What happened was a lot of times there would be a lot of servers out there. There would be access to a lot of servers. People could get access. Sometimes I didn't have. Some people couldn't find where my server was because I wasn't on a particular list. Other times I was, so I had those battles. But the big battles that I had a lot of the times was because I would do well on nights when other servers weren't hosting. Now, this is before 24/7. I would do well on certain nights that others were not hosting, but then if somebody had a session, especially if it was one of the more popular ones, that was when I noticed the decline. So I was more interested in being cooperative. Well, apparently that doesn't work with everybody because they want to do their own things, and they all of a sudden there's like, well, you're trying to tell us how to run our server and blah 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 and all this other garbage. I'm like, no, I just want us to cooperate so it's not so competitive. It shouldn't need to be competitive, and it's just like, well, it isn't competitive. It's got nothing to do with you. I'm like, oh, okay, fine. So apparently it was only competitive in my eyes because I was on the short end of the stick when things got low. And the lifeblood of the servers were users because there was no AI. You needed users to run the trains. Now, fast forward all the way to version 2. Here we are coming into version 2. We didn't know what it was going to be. I knew I had to prepare. I had to, uh, first of all, I had a lot of questions. I was on another forum, probably one of the major forums, and all I wanted to do was hypothesize or try to talk about ideas. Well, apparently, and this is well before version 2 actually came, apparently that didn't go well with certain members or certain rules, and advertising your server in any way didn't go well with certain forums who have been mentioned in certain servers. Needless to say, I basically said, well, fine then, I'm leaving. And I left. Just like I've left other servers in the past as well. Sometimes I get kicked out of servers eventually because I tell them basically where to go in a post. But in that one, I basically said, if that's the case, I think I was more civil about it. But then I would start reading posts, and eventually I got banned because I still had access to at least read them, and then eventually, because of the fact that they knew I was still reading, it was just like, no, you can't even read it anymore. We don't want you here at all. Fortunately, I'm at least accessible to their main page, which has access to their maps. Well, now we know who we're talking about. Has access to their maps. I go to them all the time. I think I'm in somewhat of a civil stance with Sean. So, I mean, we know who we're talking about now with Run8 Depot. So, I take it we're on a civil stance. I think there's confusion between certain admins. This happens a lot of times where one admin will tell you one thing and one admin will tell you another thing. So it happens in a lot of these bigger servers and forums and all this other stuff. I take responsibility for all my admins. If there's an issue, I'm the bottom line when it comes to the RTS forum. The buck stops here. So if there's a discrepancy between how one admin's treating somebody, and this kind of thing doesn't go on because really we're not that busy. So I'm not worried about that. And we have been in the past, but even when we were, it was never an issue as far as I know. At least nobody's ever made me aware of it. So, and plus the fact I'm very active in my own, I've always been very active, as much as I possibly could be, either in California, even when I gave up the server. But anyways, this leads to when version 2 finally did come, and we finally figured out, we started getting ideas of what it was going to be. It started, a lot of it started, to me, was starting to show signs of being above my expectations. Many things are still above my expectations, but then they got rid of a few things like the scheduling thing, like I mentioned. You know, and that's one critique I have. I have a critique lately of also the way they generate random numbers. Um, it's a common issue. I don't know if they're aware of it. I'm sure I've grumbled about it a few times, but their random number generating is prone to having patterns because of the way machine code works, and they generate it all sequentially. Depending upon how fast the program is running, that's basically how you get your random numbers, and that's why if you run as many trains as we ran on California, and I'm telling you, I don't care how big a server you are, nobody ran as many trains for as long as we did in California. Nobody. I know that for a fact. I don't know I can't speak for what was going on now or what they've found out or if they're even bothering to keep track or what they're doing. Um, but it should be obvious by now if they've run it long enough. They should see the patterns. They should see that I don't know. Maybe they do their own trains and they forego the whole thing. I'm not sure what they're doing. I forget. I've talked to a few people about it uh, who actually do run there, and they've let me know on a few things. But otherwise, I don't care. It doesn't matter because in the end of the day, it eventually became what I needed to do for me. So what others do has been less and less of an interest of mine. I always wanted to learn from them if I could learn better ways of doing things. Other than that, not don't care. So, but version 2 created an issue. And the issue, I honestly, this was one of the things where I wanted to know as much as I could know about it ahead of time because I wanted to prepare. Because I foreseed that issues like this was happening. I've been around long enough. I've seen these things that could happen, and I wanted to know how the AI was going to work. And Run8 is very secretive about their releases. They're very secretive. They don't give you details. Whereas others will give you a lot of details about what's coming into their product. They're very secretive about it, I find. That's just the way their business model is, or however they do it. That's their business. It's annoying, but don't have to worry about that right now because we know everything we need to know. And what's coming down the future really doesn't matter. I mean, whatever comes, comes. And we know that there's two routes in expansion. We know that there's some cars coming. It really doesn't impact anything because we're using what we got now. And, it works just fine. It's got its flaws, like I said, but it is massive improvement over version 1, the recent shadows, all kinds of things. So, a lot of good stuff. That's for sure. And the positives far outweigh any negatives. It is the best train simulator on the planet, period. I don't care. You can't beat it. You just cannot beat it. And as good as Train Sim World looks, and as much as I say that I'm kind of curious, and I would probably purchase it over two expansions that are coming for California, which, because I haven't run California in a while, that might change pretty soon, but I'll let you know about that. Um, yeah, it's still, if they start adding certain car types, not engines, because I don't need specific engines of California, or I need East Coast stuff, and I need some Conrail era stuff, and I need various different car types. If I start seeing those, I will definitely purchase those and support Run8. I have been on the record as saying if an editor comes out, I will purchase it. So if they want to make some money, why don't they offer that editor they're talking about? If they do it upright, why don't you try to make some money off it, guys? Why keep it as an add-on? I mean, yeah, maybe it's just going to be beta type thing and it ain't going to be that big of a deal anyways. But you really want to make some money, why don't you do it up nice and sell it? Train Dispatcher did it. They had Track Builder. separate program. Not everybody bought it, but those that wanted to do it, they did it. And guess what? They made some money. So I'm telling you right now, I would pay for it right now. Even on a tight, starting to get into a budget now, and I'm watching my money, I would pay for it. So, anyways, it's 6:24, so I gotta really start pushing this up here because I got no more 15 to 20 minutes tops. So, version 2 came out, and then all of a sudden we had a dilemma. We had the whole thing between running with the clock on all the time and having AI, or just pausing the clock, stopping the trains, and having dispatchers. So this became an issue with 24/7. It ticked off a lot of people because they couldn't run trains. This was an idea of mine. Mike agreed. Mike has different ideas coming forward. So that's good news. So stay tuned for that, folks. All I'm saying is I'll say this right now. No, I'll say it again. I'll leave it to the end. You're going to have to hang on to me. So now this gets along to what's been happening. I decided that, of course, I wanted Selkirk. I had issues with. Now I've been on YouTube now and streaming, and I have a thing with YouTube that I often, I say what's on my mind. I don't know who's watch. I have no idea who's watching my. I just broadcast and I say what I think. I try not to be offensive to people. I try not to be rude. Sometimes I vent. Sometimes I react. Sometimes whatever the case may be. And sure enough, Mikey, who apparently might be watching me right now because he gets alerts, all of a sudden I'm on Selkirk Mohawk when it's still broken, and I was just like, whoa, man, this is really bad. And I was brutal about it too. I was just like, Ed. And Mikey apologized the next day to me, and I felt like dirt. He apologized to me because of how bad it was. And I said, Mikey, you don't have to apologize to me. I apologize. I mean, I had no idea you were watching. I mean, I'm basically calling his baby broken. But he is what I call a thick-skinned person. He's got a lot thicker skin than me. I'll tell you that much. Because if I had heard that, yeah, it would probably bother me. I I was trying not to be mean. I was just trying to be brutally honest of what I was. It was nuts. There's a few issues with it still today that kind of bother me, but for the most part, it runs just as I would expect it. You can't do the auto racks. That may be prototypical in the hump. It has a few issues with the reefers and center flow hoppers, but anyways, I wanted to switch this. As I said, I wanted to do Selkirk and Mohawk, and the real reason why I focused on that was I also wanted to get away from 24/7. I have not purchased the second version, so I wanted to get something going. And next week, if all goes well, by next Wednesday, I will have my server back up on an ongoing, not 24/7 basis, but I will have sessions running and everything if I can get this stuff out of the way, because I need to get this addressed. And this is what I'm going to basically focus in on here. So it is very time consuming at times. Trying to build a server is not an easy task. I have gone out of my way, and recently I've had a lot of I get a lot of really cool people who post. I'm going to show you my comments. Let me see here if I can see it here. You can click. You click the bell on the videos. You can see the latest notifications. This is a great video. Thanks. Well done. Blah blah blah. Awesome. A rush reference. Yeah, I did that the other night. I'm watching one of your videos now, so this is a newer guy. Is the California server still up? I get that a lot. And then there's other things. I love your streams and catch from time to time. Can it run on Windows 7? So people are asking various questions, and I had a lot of I'll go to this. Who cares? I had a lot of praise lately, and I'll tell you something. I can't tell you how much. What had happened when you do something nice for somebody, and this is before this these. No, I shouldn't say that. Let's back it up a little bit. I got about 10 to 15 minutes, and I really want to wrap this up. There was an issue when I believe I was testing Selkirk. It must have been Selkirk. Not so sorry, it wasn't Selkirk. I think it was California. I think I had something. Yeah, I had something called the Bakersfield Project. That was my first attempt because I wanted to do something, and Selkirk wasn't working at the time, so I did something called the Bakersfield Project because I was tired of waiting for Selkirk to get fixed. We didn't know when the hell thing was going to get fixed, and I really wanted to start hosting and creating again. It didn't last very long, but on one of the situations while I was live streaming, I was going, it was in the process. I'm very particular. There's a person, and I'll try not to name names, but you can find out, and that person probably could be watching right now, or maybe he's ticked off with me. I don't know. I have no idea what's going on. He recently, as early as the beginning of, I think it was the beginning of April, was saying, thanking me so much about how he loved his videos and he was going to share his, access to me and doing all kinds of, very cordial to me, all the whole thing. But on, and this was after the incident. So I thought this was out of the way. So I posted I was doing this live stream, and he had some communication issue or something like that, and I was saying I was going to kick him. And I said this on the live stream. I'm going to kick you. Well, I guess he was watching the live stream. And, and I was saying, is it control tab? I don't know what the hell's going on. But every time I would try to add, nothing would happen. Nothing would happen. And it was getting frustrating. It was becoming very disruptive for me. So, anyways, a long story short, he wasn't too pleased about that. I said, basically, look, I was venting. I says kicking is not a bad thing. If I have an issue with somebody, I'm going to email them, or I'm not going to do it on a live stream. Give me a break. I'm not. If I have an issue with something, I'm not going to bring it up so much on a live stream. Although I'm going to deal with some issues here, and I really don't have an issue with this person. I take exception to some of the things that are being said, and this is why I want to clear the record, because I don't want to get between these posts that are kind of, I'm being told to be more specific, and lately, and I see these posts about how I should have named my thread about I miss my private server or some silly thing like that. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Because I don't know what it is he's talking about. I'm not too sure. Here's what happened. I posted so anyways, he was upset about that. I thought we worked everything out. I thought everything was fine. Somewhere in between, I posted a message, and I don't know if I mentioned him again, or I mentioned, because I knew he was watching my YouTube, so I don't know if I mentioned somebody, or mentioned, I might have mentioned the kick incident again, so that people understood that, if I say certain things, don't take it, kicking's not a bad thing or something. I might have mentioned it. It wasn't to make fun of the light. I was just saying, maybe it was. Maybe I was joking around about it, but it wasn't nothing personal or anything like that. Or so, anyways, I post this message, and my message was basically titled, and this started a couple other fronts tonight, because now all of a sudden we got all kinds of people all over the various servers who are started getting up and roar over a message that somebody had posted. in response to my response, and it was a very nice message. It was actually Jonah. I can't think of his alias, but anyways, he posted a video response, and I can't think of his alias. I'll just say Jonah. So, anyways, somewhere in the very beginning of the message, I posted this message because I was very curious as to where I was looking for a break. I was just looking for something, not for a long-term thing, and not looking for my old server or a replacement for California server. I was looking for a break because doing running the server and everything was tiring. And I said that I missed California. I even missed Florida, but yet there's an RTS Florida server if I want to go on it. But I wanted the whole thing with the traffic and the way things used to be. That's what I missed about it. So, anyways, I'm trying to get this long story short. I see a message on there. Suddenly we start getting posts. I get replies, and then why it ends up being about why people don't like multiplayer. And it wasn't about that. All I wanted to know was where did all the servers go? Why aren't people listing it? And it was for servers, because I've been saying for a while now, and I've been posting, there's a lot of potential out there to run servers the way it used to be run 3 to 4, almost 5 years ago, especially with AI. And I'm not going to get into that. I've already been that into other videos. So I saw a message that kind of was seemed like it was hitting at me, but it was talking about, well, basically any multiplayer server that I've ever been on, and I'm paraphrasing because I'm not going to look at it. Any multiplayer server I've been on, something about being the arrogant people who have their own worlds, and not condescending. And somewhere I think I responded it that people needed, and I might have done this in YouTube, I might have done it on the forum. I don't know where I responded, and I don't care. But I basically said that people need to be a little more hard-skinned. Admittedly, that I'm not the most hard-skinned person. I take things personally very easily. But people need to be more hard-skinned. Trust me, I've learned that from experience. I need to be more hard-skinned. I need to not waste time on this, to be quite honest. But I do it anyways because I care too much about what people think. And I hate that. Because otherwise I don't care what people think. It's a very complex thing. I really don't care what people think, but I do care what people think. Does that make sense? Okay. So I see this thing going on. I'm like, okay, well, this is turning into a real negative experience. I'm like, okay. And then finally I got finally Jason got chimed in, and he had a very nice post about that I think that people misunderstand multiplayer, that how you can just have a few people, and I was like, exactly. That's all I'm saying. Just a few people, and I was talking about. I even went on somewhere around here. Somebody was a new user who replied to one of my old YouTube streams, and he was asking, well, what can I do? What can I do? I wasn't trying to get him onto a multiplayer server. First of all, I didn't have one, and I wasn't trying to get him onto Florida or anything like that. I was trying to show him and show people what they can do. I had 1 hour free because I didn't feel like running my own thing. That I was exhausted. It was earlier, I think on Monday or something like that. So I wound up taking the time to show this person what to do, and I decided to create a live stream about it so others could learn from it, so you can see what you can do in single player and what you can do, because there's so much that you can do in single player. Or if you want to host a server, yes, you can take it to that level. A lot of people can just hit the host button if they want. They can advertise, they can post. There's places that you can do it. People don't try hard enough, and that was what Jonah was saying. They get too complacent. I think that's what he was saying the other night. Well, now so I had my thing last night, and then I started seeing posts about, that the title should have been of the thread should have been about me and or something about my private server or talking about private servers, and I had to be specific between the hard skinned and lower skinned and all this other stuff, and how the thread should have been posted and all that, and I replied right away. And this was at, getting close to 1 a.m., I believe, last night. And I replied, this isn't about me. And it's not. That's the goofy thing about all this. It's not. And furthermore, I'll just close that off right there. It's not about me. And I think I've proven myself well in the past if you know my history. Some people don't like my history. Some people don't like me. That's nice. Good for them. Some people think I'm arrogant. Good for them. I don't care. That's where I don't care about what people think. But if you start talking behind my back, or, and I get it. Okay, I'm on a YouTube channel, and somebody, here's some reference to something they say. Well, they don't take it too personally. Okay, I get it. So it works both ways. Maybe it's hypocritical. Okay. Am I perfect? No. But anyways, if I had an issue with somebody, I will go to private email. I challenge anybody at all. If they got something to say to me, or if they got a problem with me, go on my Wikia, railroadtransportationsimulator.wikia.com, and post a message anonymous. I don't care if it's anonymous. I don't care if you're a member. Just post a message. And as long as you are in a Wikia guidelines, here's one thing you can take to the bank. I have never moderated a post. Not once, and neither has any of my admins, to my knowledge, have moderated a post on our Wikia. None of them. Have I banned a few people? Yes. And that was a while back because they were just totally obnoxious and didn't want to listen to anything we wanted to do. So, you got an issue. First of all, you want to send a private message to me, or if you want to get my attention, just say, I have a way of getting through to people. I should have a lot of people's emails. I can get in touch with you. I'll find a way. So if I have an issue personally, I'll get through to you. If I don't, you're reading too much into it. Now about this whole thing with California. I was in an email last night. I'll get to the good news now. While I was eating, I don't know if it was last night I was reading it, or maybe it was today at lunch. I can't remember. But no, I think it was last night. California, under Mike, will be returning, hopefully in the very near future. This is from him. He will announce this. It is not going to be through RTS. It'll likely be through its own system. It will be a little bit different, probably a little bit different than what it was before. More details are to follow. I don't think it's going to be as in-depth as far as industries at first. It may not have as many trains running. They're going to be running 24/7. The clock's going to keep going. I don't know more than that. All I can tell you is that I will use it. But here's the ironic thing. And this goes to this whole thing. I may not have much time to go on it. So if I miss my server, if that's what, in going back to this whole, I miss my server, or I need to find more private servers, or you don't know me. You honestly don't know me. And you could take the proof of the pudding and shove it, because I don't care. I don't know what you're talking about. And I just went through as much as I could, as best as I could, my history. And if you're not watching my videos, I could, who cares anyways? I just vented. I got it out of my system. And like I said, I don't have a personal issue. If I had a personal issue, I would contact you. I don't have a personal issue with anybody right now. Honestly, I don't. And I'm avoiding the confrontations with between servers and previous servers owners or whatever else is going on over. I mean, you know, I'm not worried about that. That's another front, and I don't feel like fighting for that. The bottom line is this: all I was looking for when I say I'm missing California was I was looking for a distraction, a little bit of a distraction once in a while, maybe run an hour or two here. Most nights in between running Selkirk Mohawk, I will be too busy. On weekends, I'm busy. I gotta leave like basically right now. I'm delaying seeing my son. He's the most important thing in the world to me. Okay? And I care that much about what people, I want to help people. Okay? It's not about me. I want to help people. I want to help people succeed. I want to help people. I want Run8 to grow. Why do I want that? Because when there's more options and there's more people, there's more of a community. Okay? And bunching, I don't care if you had a bad experience on my server, say if it was my server. If you had a bad experience on my server, that's fine. I'm not going to argue that fact. But don't bunch the rest of the hosts because you had a bad experience on my server. There's a lot of hosts out there that deserve better than that. There's a lot of hosts out there that are willing to please and bend over backwards a hell of a lot more than I am. And even the RTS family, I'm different than what Tom does. Tom and I, just because we got the RTS name, doesn't mean our servers are very different. So what Tom does on his server might be different than what I did. That's why I disassociate, and I didn't do this out of thing. All my admins, by the way, all the RTS admins are still the same RTS admins they have been for the past 6 months or so. We actually had a couple new ones late last year, I think it was. We've had about the same admins for the past year, I believe. We all get along fine. We are all very busy, with the exception of me. I'm not. The only reason why I'm busy is I'm busy trying to build things up. I'm busy trying to deal with any confusion or any sense of ulterior motives or whatever else this garbage that I'm seeing on Train Sim. I don't, and then the posts are in there. Why can't people all get along? Okay, for the record, and this is a criticism of that people all can't get along. That's just the way life is. That ain't the real world. People can't all get along. Whether it's a sim or a hobby or whatever, some people take things too seriously. Okay, maybe I do. Maybe that's what a lot of the thing is. Now it's 6:46 and I really got to get going. And I'm just stretching this out because I want to make sure I get my point across. I really don't want to deal with this. Sunday, hopefully the storm is over. People will go about their lives, do their thing. Yes, it's nice if everybody gets along because I want to move on. I want to move on from this garbage. Like seriously. I mean, either I get my posts and they're totally ignored and nobody says anything, and then all of a sudden you get somebody who just like, man, you get a whole massive reactions, and it blows up into a thread that eventually gets locked. So far, right now, that thread has calmed down. Hopefully, it stays that way. I was joking. I said, well, maybe you should lock it, but I was against that. By the way, if you post on my forum, if you have an issue, I've said this before, we're not going to lock threads if it starts getting heated between a couple people. Let them settle it. I don't have that little funny tagline at the top that says we're all about free speech. No, I believe in free speech. I always have been. Or we support all, Sims and whatever. No. I do support all Sims, or whatever the hell it is. You want to talk about some other Sim? I don't care. Talk about it. You can talk whatever you want on my forums. As long as you're within the Wikia guidelines, you're following the Wikia guidelines, that's all I care about. And everybody thinks, well, you got all these rules and all this blah, 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 blah. It's like, post anonymously, do whatever you want, you know? Because I don't want to deal with this whole political crap. Honestly, I don't have time for it. I got my life, I got my son, I got my weekends. I'm going to go enjoy that now. But I wanted to get that out there. You know, I wanted to get that out there because no, we can't all get along, Jason. As much as I respect what you say, I believe you're on the right side as far as the legal, or sorry, the political side of the realm where we're believers in free speech and all that other stuff, and you know the garbage that's going on with the social justice warriors. And I'm not going to get into the political because then I'm going to really divide a lot of people because there's a lot of division going on already. All I'm saying is um, I'm pro free speech. I don't care if you know, even if I don't agree with you, you have a right to say whatever you have to say. And if it offends me, turn the channel. If this YouTube channel offends you, unsubscribe. I don't need your subscriptions. I don't need your thumbs up. Put a thumbs down if you don't like what I have to say. I dare you. Make it negative. That's what that little thumby thing's there for. If you don't like what I got to say, thumbs down. If you don't like what I got to say, comment about it. If you don't like what I'm saying on YouTube, say something. Interact. I interact with a lot of people, and the majority of the interaction is very positive. That's what keeps me going. That's why I keep doing it. I do it for the community. Because we need community. I'm not a social person, but we need community. We need more people. I do this so that people know what I'm doing. I broadcast to the world. I open up. I could just shut this all down. And believe me, there's been times where I've wanted to shut it all down. But you know something? I'm not going to let these things get to me. And like I said before, if I had a real personal issue about it, I'd email. And I was very close to doing that last night. Believe me, I was. But I said, you know, forget it. I'm going to let it go. Figure it's a misunderstanding. Figure whatever it is. Somebody peed in somebody's cornflakes. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not going to let it get to me. So I just wanted to get that off my chest. Thank you guys for enjoying or putting up with whatever the hell attitude I have, be it arrogant or whatever the hell you want to call it. I'm going to have myself a good weekend. I'm not going to worry about this crap until Sunday. And then Sunday, well, it's the start of another week, and we'll see what the fallout is to all this stuff. But hopefully everybody is going to get along enough, at least for now. Like I said, we can't get along all the time, so these things are bound to happen. You just got to live with it. And the best way to do it is to work it out. Communicate. If it's out in the open and you want to bring something out in the open, then bring it right back at them. And that's why I do what I do. And certain forums, you can't do it. There's certain forums I can't do it. So this is my soapbox. This is where I go. And no, I can't read anything. If anybody's chatting on something, I hope the chat's disabled, because the only way I'm going to be able to see something is when this video goes live in about 30 minutes. Sorry, when this video gets uploaded to YouTube in about 45 minutes, about 8 o'clock tonight, and it's in my stream. Comment as you please, thumbs up as you please, thumbs down, do whatever you want, subscribe, unsubscribe, have fun. Enjoy your life. Don't be programmed. Make choices, have options. That's the way you should live your life. That's the way I live mine. Have a good one, guys, and we'll see you Sunday.